Hello and good morning, everyone, wherever you may be. Welcome to today's webinar hosted by ASE Calcitech. I'm Midun from the marketing team at ASE Calcitech, leaders in grid communication solutions. So today we are going to discuss about how to test IEC104 Secure Authentication features. This webinar will cover IEC104 Secure Authentication capabilities introduced in our product ASE200 Test Set, the latest version being 2.35. Test Set will support both TLS 1.2 and 1.3 for transport profile security. Uh, we will also be covering some of the other fixes and improvements in this particular version, and fine-tuning terminal server versus COM versus TCP selection, etc. for the DNP3 protocol. As regular attendees to our webinar may be aware, this is a 45-minute session and will be followed by 5 to 10-minute Q&A. Do note this is a listen-only webinar, and if you have any questions, please drop in on the chat screen on the questions tab. I will consolidate all the questions and hopefully get that answered towards the end of the webinar. In case we do not have time to answer every question, I will personally make sure that we'll get in touch with you and address all the queries via the host. A recording of this webinar will be automatically sent to all attendees after 24 hours from this session. We'll also be emailing you a webinar participation e-certificate in a separate email. All right, now without further ado, let me introduce the host for today's session, Sterin Jose. Sterin focus at Applied System Engineering is product management of 61850 tools and other related protocols, and project management of ACDR integration projects. He has over 20 years of experience in the design and development of grid communication products and tools, in addition to project management expertise. He has been the instructor for numerous technical courses related to grid communication protocols like IEC608 and ICCP. Sterin has also published and presented numerous white papers around grid communication protocols, and of course on various other subjects of interest. All right, Sterin, we can jump right in. Over to you.
Thank you, Mithun, for a nice introduction. So I will not cover the details of the slide. It's basically talking about the applied systems engineering and our legacy products, ASE200 Test Set. As you know, it is equipped with the Master RTU and monitoring mode capabilities. It was introduced long back in 1989. And from there onwards, we added a lot of features, capabilities into the tool, like bit protocols, byte protocol support, several protocols like DNP3, IEC101, 104, Modbus, and so on. And this release, the latest release of ASE2000 is 2.35, where we added security capabilities in IEC104 protocol. And this release was done in April 2025, and this is already available in our website. So if you are interested, please feel free to browse to our website and go to the download section and download and use the evaluation portion. So today we'll be talking more about IEC104 security with TLS 1.2 and 1.3 support. And those who don't know ASE2000 Test Set, this tool is supported in several operating systems, like mainly on 64-bit operating systems, Windows 7 onwards. And we support USB-based BCOM licensing, then USB-based Sentinel dongle licensing, and server-based licensing. So these are the three licensing options available. And BCOM hardware supports 2 serial ports. If your laptop doesn't have any serial ports, then this box allows you to get the serial protocol access with the USB connection. And we support simulation, testing, and monitoring mode. These 3 modes allows you to do all the testing for your bit and byte protocols. So talking about the legacy protocols, we support protocols like Conitel, CDC. These are coming under bit protocols category. Then we have byte protocols like Harris, Telegear, etc. We also have a standard protocol support like IEC101, 104, DNP3 Modbus. These are byte protocols. And we support, in general, we support substation SCADA and RTU communication testing. So we can do this with both legacy and standard protocols. And recently we added several DER-based protocols into ASE2000, like IEEE 2030.5, Sunspec Modbus were added recently as part of the test set. So I'll switch to the demonstration part. So as I mentioned earlier, we will be talking more about the IEC104 security capabilities that was added recently into the test set. Before going into the details of the test set, I would like to go over the release notes of the recent version. We introduced the T-profile secure authentication for IEC104. We support both TLS 1.2 and 1.3 using RSA-based certificates. We also have a capability to generate client-server certificates in ASE2000. So like you know about DNP3 secure authentication features, we can generate keys for testing DNP3 secure authentication. The same way you will be able to generate certificates for IEC104. Other than security features, we also added some bug fixes. We have there were some points that we wanted to take care of this release. Like I don't want to go into the details of it, but we do have DNP3 secure authentication fix as well in this release. And you'll be able to download the software. You'll be able to download the software from our website. If you browse to ASE-systems and go to the download section and go to ASE2000 Test Set and drivers, then you'll be able to download this version from here and evaluate it. Okay, proceeding to the demonstration part. Let me start the software. Okay. So if you are already familiar with ASE2000, this is the task mode of ASE2000. We have two modes of operation, task mode and exchange mode. Currently, the secure authentication features are added into the task mode. When you add a RTU, you can add different type of protocols here, like DNP3 or IEC104 protocols can be added. And if you go to the next pane, you'll be able to add the number of points. So for the demonstration, I have added only a few single point statuses. So this will help us to demonstrate the capabilities of the tool with security. Okay. And main difference that you will see here is in the tools properties section of the tool. And if you browse to tools properties, it will give you the communication details. Further in the last tab, you'll see the protocol specific details. There are no changes to these sections. And further, we have the simulation section. So these two sections are the same. And here, if you go further, you will see TLS 1.2 and TLS 1.3 capabilities, and you'll be able to enable these features as you go. And if you go to the TLS 1.2, you'll see the signature algorithm. We support 3 signature algorithms, all are RSA based algorithms. And we also support hash algorithms, 3 of these. And we also support multiple key length. So these capabilities are added to test the TLS 1.2 over IEC104 security. And if you go to the certificate section, I'll delete the certificate so that you will see how it will look when you start. Okay, so this is how it will look when you install the software, and if you don't have any um, certificates installed on your ASE2000 tool, so you may browse to the new section and it will generate a certificate for you. You will be able to assign any name to the root certificate. So first process is create a root certificate. And if you have a root certificate, you may also import it into the software. So you may use the import option to browse the certificate from your local computer and use it in ASE2000. You will also be able to export the certificate from the software to your local computer. For example, if you want to test with any external systems and if you don't have a certificate, then you may use a certificate generated within the software. And once the software is, once the certificate is generated, then it will be automatically available in the Windows certificate store. In some cases, you might have other certificates also in your Windows Store. So you'll be able to kind of load the certificates from Windows Store using this option. Okay, to start with the demo, I will rename the certificate. And you may add multiple certificates in this pane, and you will have to specify which one you would like to use for the test. So in this case, I'll be checking this box so that we have a certificate selected. So now you have selected or imported or loaded a certificate from Windows Store, and you have selected it for the test. Further, you can go to the client certificate. So now we are in the master mode. Sorry, we are in the master mode, and next process is to generate or use a client certificate. In the same process, you may either load it from the store or import it from the file system. If you have an existing certificate, you may do that, or you may create a new certificate. Okay. So when you create a certificate, it will use the root certificate based on the selection here. So in this case, I only have one root certificate here, and I have selected that, and it will create the client certificate based on that. So once these steps are completed, you may click OK, and further confirm the selection. So now the master mode of ASE2000 has been started or initialized. So I'll proceed and create another instance so that we can see the RTU side as well. In a real scenario, you will be testing with a real RTU or with the real device. You can either test a SCADA system with IEC104 capability, or you may test an RTU with IEC104 security capability. So in this case, I don't have a RTU or SCADA with me for the demonstration, so I'll be simulating uh, both master and RTU using the same tool. So I'll have two instances running, and that way we can simulate both. And this capabilities will be utilizing the RTU mode. Here you can see multiple buttons. This is the first button indicates the master capability of the tool, and then you have the monitoring mode capability, then the RTU mode. So here we'll be using both master and RTU modes of the tool to demonstrate this capability. As you did earlier, browse to the tools properties and protocol section, and further go to the TLS 1.2, same way you did earlier. And further, we'll have to go to the certificate management. Here I will delete the previously existing certificates to start fresh. Yeah, I already have a demo root certificate here. So you'll use that. This is the one we created just now, as you see here. If you click here, it will provide the details of the certificates. For example, here you can see that this is the certificate that we created, and it has the serial number. It also has the signature algorithm based on the previous selection, and it also tells you the issuer details. So if you have some other certificate imported into the software, then the tool will show all the details from that certificate. As you can see here, the certificate was generated just now, and you can see the timestamp here and it also has a validity of 5 years. This is the default parameters that are associated with this certificate. And further, you select that same root certificate and go to the server certificate, and you will be able to create. You may either use the same name or you may rename it to your, yeah, I'm renaming it for better identification. So the certificate was generated just now, and in the same way as you have seen the details of the root certificate, you will be able to browse and find the details of the server certificate. In the same way, you can also import the certificates, export the certificates, and load from Windows Certificate Store. So all the features are exactly the same. And here the signature algorithms are matching with the master side. And so we support all these three options under signature algorithm, hash algorithm, and key length. Okay. Once you set up the master and RTU, then the next step is to start the RTU. So you may start the server. So here you can see that uh, under messages or line monitor, you will be able to see the details. So tool tells you that the TLS server is listening on port 2404 using server certificate. If you want to use the standard TLS port, that also will be okay. So if you want to, instead of using standard 2404 port of IEC104, you may also set the port number to 443 or some other port that you won't want to use based on your requirement. So you'll be able to set the port number here. So for this demo, I am continuing to use that port for 2404. And from a master side, I am using the loopback IP address, and I'll proceed with the connection request. To make a connection, you may click on the connect button. And from master and RTU perspective, uh, you will see the respective messages. So here you can see that TLS session is successfully established using the certificate. So it will tell the details of the certificate, and it will also tell you whether there is any error in making the TLS connection. And here you can see that from an RTU perspective, it will indicate that there is a TLS session successfully established. So in both master and RTU, you will see the messages. So rest of the procedures are exactly the same. There is no difference. From protocol perspective, you will do the start DT to initiate the communication. Since the TLS connection is already established, it will use that channel to perform the remaining operations. You may also do a general interrogation if you want. Yeah. And if you want to simulate some values, you can also do that. So since the GA is initiated from the master, whenever there is any change, it will update the values in the master side. So server will automatically send the data updates to the master. So we have seen the IEC104 security with the TLS 1.2. I'll stop the connection. and I will disconnect and stop. So I'll show how it works when one of the side is not configured with security. So that means imagine you have the master side not configured with security. So you may uncheck this option. So that means in this case, master don't have the security enabled, but RTU is enabled with the security features. So in this case, when you start the RTU, it will be expecting TLS connections. And when you make a connection using the connect button from the tool, in this case, since we have unchecked the TLS option, it will not use the security options, right? So when you make a connection, the connection will be rejected. So I'll clear the messages here in the master side and use the connect option. So you can see that it did not successfully make a connection. So here in the server side, you will see that a non-TLS connection attempt has been rejected, and TLS handshake not initiated. So in this case, the master was trying to make a non-TLS connection, but RT was expecting a TLS connection with certain security features. So you will see these kind of messages when a non-TLS connections are attempted into a TLS configured RTU. Okay. So I'll stop this connection. So now we will reverse the scenario where we can kind of configure security in the master side and remove the security features in the RTU side. So we'll go to the TLS, uncheck the option here, and we can go to the master side and select the option. It will remember the previous selection. So you can see that the previously selected root certificates and client certificates are already selected. And if you open the tool again, it will remember your selections. So you don't have to perform these configurations again. So now I have enabled the security in the master side, but in the RTU side, I have disabled the security. Okay. So we'll clear the messages and we'll run the RTU. So from master side, we'll try to make a TLS connection because in the master we have configured the security. So you can see that in the master side, it tried a handshake. The handshake failed due to an unexpected packet format. So in this case, it was not getting the expected handshake response. So that's why it caused a failure. And here from RTU's perspective, it was not expecting any TLS messages. So it was expecting a standard IEC104 message, but it could not see any meaningful messages coming into the RTU side. So it recognized it as a framing error and an unknown packet. So these informations are provided from the RTU side. So this is what you would see if a secure client is trying to make a connection with a non-secure RTU. Let's stop this. And if we go back and enable the security in the server, everything will work as we saw earlier. So it will still remember the certificates, and you may click OK. And now both the sites are enabled with the security. Now if you start, it will show the details. And when you make a connection from the master, you can see that a TLS session has successfully established. And here also you'll see the additional details. Now the functionality remains the same. You can do the start DT and start with the general integration. So you'll start getting the updates as you go. So this is the high-level feature from security standpoint. We have seen all the features on the TLS 1.2. Technically, there is no difference. There is no much difference from the configuration perspective to use TLS 1.3. When you go to this tab, you will see very similar options as in TLS 1.2. Here you can see the enable option and certain certificate options, right? And if you go to the TLS 1.3 also, you'll see very similar options. Only difference here is that when you select the TLS 1.3, then 1.2 automatically get disabled. So the tool will start using this option. And here you will see the similar signature algorithms, hash algorithms, and the key length. And we could use the same certificates in both 1.2 and 1.3. So there's no need to change the certificates if you don't want to. So the way TLS and TLS 1.2 and 1.3 works is based on the backend functions. So there is no configuration change required. So now I have configured TLS 1.3 in the RTU side. And let us see how it behaves when you have a mismatch in security settings in both master and RTU. So we have started the RTU, and here you can see that this is initialized with the TLS 1.3, and it is using the same port and certificates. The main thing to notice is that here it is initialized with the 1.3 instead of 1.2. Now let us try to make a connection from master, which is configured as TLS 1.2. So you'll see that the connection is failed. It was expecting TLS 1.2 from a master side, but in RTU it was configured as TLS 1.3. So you can identify it from here. It's TLS 1.2 specified here. And it will tell you a message that authentication failed because the remote party has closed the transport stream. So from a RTU perspective, it will say that client and server cannot communicate because they do not possess a common algorithm. Ultimately, the TLS version mismatch is causing the RTU side to not recognize the messages. And you can resolve this error by going to the tools properties and matching the algorithm. So here, instead of using TLS 1.2, you can enable TLS 1.3. So here you can see that the signature algorithm, hash algorithms, and key length are similar, and you may use the same certificates or import or load a different certificate from the store. So once the TLS version is changed, I'll clear the selection, and further the server RTU side is already running, so we don't have to do anything there. So once the connection is initialized, you'll see that it will start using TLS 1.3. And here you can see that TLS session has been established successfully. So at this point, everything remains the same. You may do a start DT, and further you may initiate a GI so that you get the data updates. So it's very similar to DNP3 security, where once the connection or once the transport layer security is established, there is no change from functionality perspective. The main difference here is that the communication will happen in a secured channel in case of IEC104, but in DNP3, each and every messages are, especially the secured messages, are appended with a hash so that other party can verify whether it is coming from the correct source. So in 104 between 104 and DNP3, from configuration perspective, there is not much difference. You will see very similar user interfaces to configure the ASE200 for security features, but behind the scenes, they are using very different methods. One is using an encrypted channel for communication, and in case of DNP3, it is not using an encrypted channel, rather it is using a hash at the end for the secured messages. And in DNP3, you can identify which all messages are secure and non-secure. For example, control messages are generally considered critical over other messages. But in IEC 104, you can see that the entire communication is happening over the TLS layer. So all messages are secured. So that's the high-level feature from this release perspective. You can see that in the release notes. So we have seen the enhancement side of it, where we discussed about the T-profile secure authentication feature in IEC 104. We also discussed about the TLS 1.2 and 1.3 capabilities, and we also saw that it's RSA based security certificates available. We also saw how we can generate the certificates, both root and client server certificates in the tool. And there are some other improvements and bug fixes in the software, like in IEC 104 and 101, we have added some improvements, and in DNP3 also we have made some changes. And DNP, in the previous version, we had a feature to use the serial channel over TCP. That means we had a terminal server feature where serial protocols can be routed over TCP. And in the process, we had added the capability to specify IP address and port number for the serial protocols. Like if you select the terminal server option in the software, you can quickly show that. If you browse to the DNP3 serial option, right? You can use any serial protocol to see this capability. I'll add a few binary points to demonstrate the tool features. So here you have the serial protocol selected, and if you browse to the tools properties, you will see that there is a terminal server capability available here. In task mode, this feature is not available, but if you switch to the RTU mode, the exchange mode, for example, then you will be able to see that capability available. So switch to the exchange mode and go to tools and properties, and further you can see the terminal server feature here. So once you enable the terminal server and specify the host, and then port number, for example 20,000 or similar. So here we are using DNP3 serial, but we are asking the tool to use the TCP channel to send the messages. So this capability can be used for any protocol, not only limited to DNP3. So once you have that added here, then you will see the IP address instead of the COM ports. So in the case of normal serial protocols, you will be seeing the COM ports here. But in case of a terminal server, you'll be able to see the in the case of terminal server, you'll see the IP address. So you'll be able to select the COM ports when you use the normal serial. So we have made some improvements in selecting the TCP channel over serial channel, so that process has been improved when you use the terminal server. So that's another improvement we have added as part of this 2.35 release. Yeah, I think that's all we have for today. Yes. And again, as I mentioned earlier, feel free to browse to our website. You can browse to ASE-systems and go to the support and download section and click on ASE2000 Test Set and Drivers section. And further, you'll be able to see the latest version here. So you may download this version and request for the evaluation if you are interested in IEC104 and other fixes in DNP3 or IEC101. Uh, then you may evaluate that feature and you may upgrade the version if you like. I think we are almost like 35 minutes into the webinar. So now I'll see whether there are any questions. Okay, the first question I see is that are self-signed certificates the only option supported in the setup, or can we also use certificates issued by trusted CA? To answer this question, yes, you will be able to use any certificates. Uh, Main requirement would be that you will have to import the certificates. So here, if you go to the certificate option, right, I will disconnect. Okay. Yeah, if you browse to the tools properties and go to the certificate management, you have an option to either load the certificate from the Windows Store or you can import it from the file. So you will be able to do it for all these certificates, like root certificates, client certificates, and the server certificates if you are in the RTU mode. Next question is, also could you explain where certificates are stored in the computer? Are they saved in a specific directory or integrated into the OS certificate store? So this is the second part. We have integrated the, we are saving it into the operating system certificate store, so it's secured. It is in the Windows certificate store. We have a dedicated path within the Windows certificate store to store the certificates generated by IEC2000. But overall, you won't be able to see it in a normal file system, so that others can kind of simply access them. So that's not possible. So it's securely stored within the uh, Windows certificate store. I'll go to the next question. Can I generate certificate on the trial version? Yes, you will be able to generate certificate on the trial version. But yeah, there are some restrictions on the communication side to generate, uh, to communicate for a longer duration. So in server mode and client mode, we have restrictions on the trial version. But you will be able to test the communication, but you won't be able to do long run test in the trial version. That is the limitation. Then the next question I see that, can you please detail on file transfer? Unfortunately, file transfer features are not part of this webinar. If you are interested, I can reach out to you separately and cover those details. You can also browse to our user manual section and look for the file transfer capabilities there. Yeah, looks like these are the questions I see. Yeah, there is one more question. I noticed that. Yeah, what are the other signature algorithms supported by the tool? So right now we support only the RSA signature algorithms and the specified hash algorithms and key length. So based on the feedback from the customers, we will expand this capability and add additional features. Yeah, now I see one more question here. Is IEC104 TLS feature only in task mode? Yeah, right now this feature is only available in task mode. But if there is any specific interest from customers, we can expand that capability to exchange mode as well. But what we have seen from our customers is that most of the secure authentication users are using our task mode. If you look at the DNP3 feature, right? Uh, the DNP3 Secure Authentication is also supported only on the task mode. We have not received a lot of requests to support the same in the exchange mode. But if there is any feedback requirement from the customers, we can expand the capability. Next, oh, I see additional questions. Can we use TLS 1.3 along with IP security protocol, IPsec protocol in field? Fortunately, I don't understand that question. Um, so I assume that you want to use the TLS layer uh, along with IPsec layer. If that is what you meant, no, it's not possible to do that. Right now, we support only TLS 1.3. And if you are referring to an additional security layer IPsec, then it is not available right now. There is one more question. Can you also generate CRL, certificate revocation list? So certificate revocation, since this is a software tool that doesn't run in a uh, for a long term, we have not added the certificate revocation capabilities into the tool right now. So most of the time, customers use it for a short term or or a instantaneous testing, right? You have a RTU, you have a SCADA, you want to kind of test the software with protocol security features or other troubleshooting scenarios. So in this, because of this reason, we have not added certificate revocation list capability into the software. But our gateway softwares support this feature. We can have certificate revocation list support in our gateways, protocol gateways, not in this software. Yeah, looks like we covered all the questions that are posted in the chat. Yeah, if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be able to support you on that, on your queries.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sterin. And I think we got quite a few set of questions, good, interesting questions as well. As well as if you have any further queries, please feel free to mail us on the email ID mentioned on the screen. You could also, I think you should be able to get a recording of the webinar, and in case you have any queries, you can probably also reply on that email as well. All right. Okay. I think we can conclude. Yeah. Thanks once again, everyone. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.